Doug Gottlieb, welcome back to the show. What's one thing you would change about college basketball?
One thing I would change. Where do I start? Um, I think I would change. Uh, you'd have to sit a year when you transfer.
Mm,
Sit a year when you transfer.
why so?
There's just why?
Hmm.
There's just nothing binding for players. Zero. So you get first they'll verbally commit to you, which literally means nothing. They can sign an NIL agreement, a scholarship agreement. They can sign all these things, but none of it's really binding if you want to make a stink over it. So, like at some point when you commit to doing something, you do it. And the only way to prevent you from bailing on it is there has to be some sort of punishment for bailing on a commitment. That's how all life works. You know, um, if you want to call it a non-compete clause, that's what it's called in the workforce. When I switched over from ESPN to CBS, I had a non-compete. There were 6 months I wasn't allowed to go on the radio. So I think you have to find a way to do that. If we want to pay players, it's fine. I think there are some places in which we've reached the point of sort of ridiculousness. It's not really NIL. But if that's the path we're going, you can't both pay players, have them on contracts, but have the contracts only um, they only have to be lived up to by one side. One sided contracts don't work.
All right. I do have to talk NBA Finals with you. I love the way the Pacers play basketball, modern basketball, ball movement, player movement, but there has to be some method to the madness when we're talking about these fourth quarter comebacks. What are you seeing from them late in games over the course of this postseason?
It's a great question. So I was talking to a couple of my NBA friends, and they said, like, look, if you watch how they play, it's not like they panic. You know, they come down and they play. Yeah, they hunt threes even more in these situations. But if you look at that comeback, okay, we do. Yes, they made a bunch of threes, and some of it is just confidence. Some of it is Oklahoma City. The only way you lose that game is if you give up threes. Literally, that's it. Only way you lose the
Yes.
game. But the other part is their defense, where the defense isn't great, and sometimes their best offense is letting you score so they can get it in and run it back up the court. But two big missed threes from Alex Caruso and a late Lou Dort three. Now I get it. Lou Dort has sealed some of these games with some late game heroics. But again, ask yourself, of the people on the Thunder that you want shooting the ball from three, I think Caruso and Dort are two of the guys you would least want to have shoot the ball from three. In other words, all they've done is really execute the you're open for a reason kind of game plan on defense, even more so at the end. And then again, the difference with them offensively is they're purposely hunting threes, but they're not taking terrible contested shots, one-legged shots, whatever, just because they're down a bunch. I think those are big things. There was a big offensive rebound putback. Um, and then even at the end of the game, Halliburton, obviously that's analytically a midi contested two you wouldn't normally take. But I mean, he's eating on those floaters and those some of those middies. But I think the biggest difference is they stick to their rules defensively, even when they're pressuring. They still want to make your non-shooters shoot. And then offensively, they yes they shoot threes when they're down, but it's out of set actions and sets. So I think it's all part of a bigger plan.
It's interesting. I mean, not to toot my own horn, I was super high on Haliburton. You listen to Combo Score. You know I was super high on
Of
Haliburton.
course.
But the thing was with him was like, yeah, he won't be able to get into the mid range and score with his funky jump shot, and that's what he's feasting off of right now in the clutch. It's really interesting.
Yeah, he has a great little push. That little push floater he's got. It's
Yes,
good, and his
yes.
mini pull up are good. Obviously, likes going right off the ball screen if he can. But he's a unique one because he didn't do a lot last night. He didn't look great last night.
Fair.
But then he hit the big shot, so it's like all that goes away. He's just a weird player that way, Combo. In that Um, I've never seen a guy who can be a superstar just be so average for games, entire games. We're like, he didn't really do anything, you know? And look, I get it. Like the best kind of players are ones that don't force things. He
Yeah.
doesn't have to force it. He lets other guys eat, lets other guys play, and plays off the ball some. I thought, Nemhart, I thought did a really good job on the
Yeah.
ball late in that game. And, then he kind of vultures in there and wins the game with a pull up. But it is weird. Like, can you think of any other star in the sport that has like a bunch of single digit scoring games? And the answer is no,
Well,
right?
was Jason Kidd that kind of guy, or he was always putting
No.
up high point totals?
Uh, Jason Kidd was, I don't think, I would love to see in
Rondo,
his,
oh Rondo, Doug, Rondo.
but Rondo was never a star.
What? You don't think so?
No, no,
Really?
no. On that team, the one that won, Kevin Garnett,
Yeah.
they had Paul Pierce,
It was a super
they
team.
had Ray Allen, and then him. He fit and he made them better. He was important, but he wasn't a star.
Yeah, I also think when you're one of those, I also think when you're one of those stars that make everybody around you better and beat you by committee, you don't have to be as dominant. Like if you are one of those stars, you almost have to defy the odds, like a Jordan or a Kobe. Like if you're not, your whole game isn't making
Yeah,
everybody around him better. You know?
yeah, yeah. Maybe that's maybe a bigger, different discussion.
Yeah,
I just think again, it's not like Rondo was a very good defender early in his career and a really good passer and a
yeah,
good finisher on the bucket. Just couldn't shoot. Um, Halliburton, like he's a good passer, but not anything crazy great.
mhm.
Probably average defender at best. But he just has these games and moments in which he's spectacular. And it's
Yeah.
just different than anybody else, It just is.
All right, you're a Division One head coach, so I have to get your thoughts on the NBA zeitgeist right now, Doug. Jenkins, Malone, Tibbs, all fired. Are NBA coaches becoming a victim of their own success?
No, I don't know the Jenkins one. I don't know what went down there. That one struck me as weird. He's a good coach.
They're all
I
weird.
don't know.
I mean, the Malone thing is kind of weird too. I mean, he just won a championship not too long ago.
Yeah, but everybody I know in the NBA is like, well, that was going to happen. It was just weird that it happened. But
Okay.
still,
Yeah.
instead of waiting to the end of the year. I just think that one had run its course, and he and the GM didn't see eye to eye. And you know, um, so that one was not a surprise. Tibbs, I get it on one hand when you're sitting there going, "Hey, he's never won a championship, never been to a championship as a head coach," um, but they kept getting better, and they were close. So whoever you hire has to have already achieved greater than what he's achieved, and even then, it's a crapshoot. Um, but I mean, I think it was 3 months ago. I had a buddy tell me like, "Hey, don't be surprised if 8 to 10 jobs come open in the NBA." And I don't know where we are now, but we're not that far off, right? That was counting San Antonio. So you got San Antonio, you got those three you mentioned, Sacramento as well. That's what, five.
We're getting there.
I think we're pretty close, and there's a couple others that I'm forgetting as well. So um, I just think that it's like if you can pay $30 million to get out of the Tibbs deal because there's no salary cap. I don't know. I don't know if they're victims of their own success. I do think that teams that get a taste of the playoffs, especially deeper into the playoffs, they get greedy with one to win. And the easiest pieces to move in the whole puzzle is the coaching piece. You don't have to match up salary for salary. You don't have to trade draft picks. You just change coaches. So I think that's usually the first line of defense when you're trying to change your program.
But I look at like Billy Donovan with Chicago. It's like he's never on the hot seat because he's always in the middle. You know.
Yeah, and I think because of his success in college, his success with the Thunder and the pros, um, And I think also relationship with general manager and what they're all about. But yeah, I mean, Billy's a great one. Billy's one in which I would have thought if I'm University of Texas, I'm one of these college jobs. I don't know if he wants to go back to college, but the money is so great that and the job is so great, you just stay in the NBA. But yeah, I think it has to marry up with expectations. Um, that's the only possible. So if the narrative is take a job that's at rock bottom and then ride it to as high as you can get to. Keep anytime you have a year in which you kind of overachieve, get a contract extension, and then just keep going.
Exactly. I want to stay on the Knicks here. Mention Tibbs a little bit, but who do you think is the best replacement? Do you find it interesting that one of the names popping up is a head coach of another team? And we already mentioned him already, Jason Kidd.
Was Leon his agent? I don't know. That's the one that's weird to me. If Leon Rose is his agent, well, then that makes sense. And remember, J Kidd took them to the finals last year, and I think the idea is he's made it pretty clear that it was not his decision to trade Luca. you know, and you're sitting there going like, okay, so we got expectations, we got the Luca thing, we got the number one pick that I'm going to have to play, and then we're going to have Kyrie coming off of a knee. Like, sounds like a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Whereas maybe Jason Kidd smart, just kind of keep moving. Um, and now he has the coaching experience he didn't have when he got the Nets job.
Yeah.
It's a little surprising though. Like I don't understand if you're going to make that move again. You have to fire somebody who's been further in the playoffs. Jason Kidd fits that. So does Jeff Van Gundy.
So you don't. So
So
you
does
don't.
Mike.
So you don't like Jay Wright? Embrace modern basketball before modern basketball. You got the Nova Knicks thing going.
I didn't finish. And then you
Okay.
have Jay Wright is the one non NBA guy.
Mm-hmm.
And all he's like, well, Jay loves his life. He does. But he also knows that whoever wins it with the Knicks, they're going to build a statue of you it's so big the Statue of Liberty may be looking up. Um, so and again, no salary cap for coaches. So it's like, are you retired? Yes. How much do you make with CBS? I don't know, 5 million, probably max. Might not even be that much. But all in, all his speaking engagements. Let's say he makes $10 million, like they can pay him 20. There's no salary cap. So those are the names. I know Danny has said no, or seems to have said no. Danny Hurley.
Mm-hmm.
But those are some good names.
Or maybe jumping on the pod with LeBron is the path to getting a coaching job.
Possibly, possibly,
Yeah.
possibly, or having LeBron tweet at you, which he did to me. So
He did. He went at you. I feel like ESPN was going at you this year. LeBron,
yeah,
they're all coming for you, Doug. What was that all about?
the ESPN thing I think was because Adam Schefter tweeted out that Sacramento State had 50 million in NIL, and I was just like, come on, dude.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so I guess they're protecting their own. I don't know. Um, I think one thing that's interesting is there's a lack of historical understanding of when guys take over jobs, what jobs are like, and how many games you win or whatever. I had drinks last week with Todd Kowalczyk, who used to coach here, and Brian Wardle, who used to coach here. Todd was like, "Hey, man, I won four my first year at Toledo," and Wardle was like, "I won four my first year at Bradley." So it happens. We got the job late. I don't know, and I don't care. I appreciate people paying attention. Just pay attention when we start winning.
How would you grade JJ Redick's season? Speaking of former pod partners with Bron.
I mean, I thought he was good. I thought he was clearly a better X and O coach than Darvin Ham. He tried something in the playoffs which didn't work. But how many times have you've been sitting over there going like, just play the good players, and sit the ones that aren't. So he tried kind of the theory of playing my five best players as much as I could, maxing them out, and trying to win a series that way. It didn't work. And you can do that in your first year. Your first year, you can try different stuff. So what's going to be fascinating is how you handle LeBron moving forward, how you handle Bronny moving forward, and then how you handle and can you be demanding of Luca and not lose Luca? I think that's the big question.
What do you think about Cooper's ceiling, his floor? Who does he remind you of? What are your thoughts on Cooper Flagg, and what do you think his impact will be initially?
It's a great question. He's only 18 years old,
Yeah,
right?
right.
So, I mean, he reclassed, but he wasn't one of these old kids that reclassed. Leave. I love him. He's super competitive, super talented. Um, Now there's some boxes he doesn't check. He's only 6'7" in bare feet. Who does he remind me of? I don't know. Who do you got? I'll tell you if I close my eyes, I think about it. Who does he remind you of?
Kevin Garnett, but smaller.
I thought Kevin Garnett too, but I was like, I'm gonna sound like an idiot by saying Kevin Garnett. That's so good. That was really good. That is crazy. It's actually I thought if I said that it would sound like sacrilege to Kevin Garnett because I think
Wait,
Kevin
what
Garnett
have
was
you been?
amazing.
What have you been the guy not saying the thing that just comes to your mind? That was never you, Doug. What happened to you, man?
I'm a older, more mature head coach, and again, like I
Oh,
wasn't. I think when you say that, I think like a Kevin Garnett would like, what?
yeah. And I
I
think
think there,
I
I
think
think
Kevin
there are
Garnett.
other
Go
people.
ahead. Go
I
ahead.
think there are other people that would think I'm underselling the kid. The reality is, was Kevin Garnett ever the MVP of the league? I don't know if he was. He ever the MVP of the
Underselling
league?
the kid? How? By compare?
Again, I'm not saying that. I'm
Okay.
saying there will be people that, for whatever reason, Kevin Garnett, I don't think gets the non-basketball fan respect that he
100%.
deserves.
100%.
Kevin Garnett was a freak. He
Well,
was a freak.
to me, Paul Pierce was their go-to, but Kevin Garnett was their best player with those
Yeah,
Celtics teams. Yeah.
yeah. I mean, Paul Pierce was I played with Paul Pierce. He was my roommate at ABCD.
Okay. Cool.
Saw him evolve in high school at Inglewood, and played against him at KU. That dude is a licensed killer as a scorer. He's a
Yes.
finisher, a closer, a
100%.
scorer. But Kevin Garnett is he's one of the best players I've ever seen play live. I played against him once in that Magic's Round Ball Classic. I mean, I never seen anything like that. Like close to 7 feet tall, can move like that. Like he just can move, and he got a quick jump and a quick second jump. High basketball IQ, could pass, could handle. Like in today's NBA, oh my God, I think he'd be even better because he could guard the rim and he could, by again, today's NBA, he could stretch you to three more. So, yeah, that was the other reason, like, I didn't want to put that on Kevin Garnett. Like, I hope this kid's a good player, a perennial all star. I don't want to put that on a kid to be Kevin because I think Kevin Garnett's so good. And then I do think there are a good number of people who are non basketball guys combo who don't realize how good Kevin Garnett is. And we're telling everybody this kid's the great white hope. And they're like, Kevin Garnett, like, how good is that? Like, I don't know, like, pretty good.
You were actually the guy that always told me that you don't need to play basketball to cover the sport. You were like, yeah, I cover football. I never played football. You were always on that train, right?
Correct. I do think you need to have played high level of sports to understand sports.
Hmm. Yeah.
I just do. I mean, just the inner workings of a locker room. Like, if you're a high level athlete, like you can figure out
I
high level
would.
athletes.
I would also say that somebody who's not a high level athlete could relate to more people with their opinions because they don't, you know what I mean? Most people aren't high level athletes.
Yes, but I don't think they understand the nuances of sports, of a locker room, of all those other things. Again, it doesn't mean that you can't have an opinion or that your opinion is invalidated. I just gravitate more towards people who have lived it, done it, and have a better sense. Now, not everybody who lived it, done it has the ability to relay their opinion, or they're not all sane. That's a real thing, right? I mean, you played with hoopers that are great hoopers, but like if you want to have a conversation about a hoop, like, wait, what?
Yeah, I mean,
So again,
if you talk to NBA coaches, they'll tell you the same thing. Like, just because they're
yeah,
really good at basketball, it doesn't mean you could talk to them about basketball.
right. There's no absolutes.
Right.
Um,
Fair.
but I do think that you can. It's like, look, all of my NFL friends and uh, coaching buddies or whatever are like, well, you get it. You know high level sports. You know pro sports. You know college. You know coaching. You've been around. So, but there are people that are talking about basketball that didn't play basketball at
It's
a high level, and you're
it's
like,
yeah, it's some
you're
of the stuff.
literally talking about something you don't know.
Yeah, it sounds weird at times, for sure. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, it sounds
yeah,
weird. It's off. Yeah, but
yes, very,
but
very
Doug,
much.
it's I know you're limited with your time, so you got to get out here. Before you get out here, what's your message to the Green Bay fans before we get out here?
Well, Green Bay fans have been great. They
Okay.
know that, um, by the end of the year, our kids were fighting. Probably should have won two or three more games. Maybe even, I mean, if you look throughout the schedule in terms of so many of the little things that went wrong, probably left 5, 6 games out there on the floor. Plus, we had, an injury to the nation's leading scorer 10 games in. But the message is like, look, we are going to play as hard as we played at the end of the year, but the returners have gotten older and the new additions are better and bigger and older. And then we've learned as a coaching staff. So we're just excited to get after it. We've had guys in town for 4 days, and um, we already had one bail. I was like, and I honestly think the reason that he chose to bail was when he came in on a visit, he thought, they don't have anybody. I'm going to kill. And then he was at practice. He's like, whoa, they got a good team. I'm going to play, but I may not average as many as I thought I was going to average.
Right.
And not everybody is built for that, which is okay. Like, I want volunteers, not hostages. So my message is we're staying the course. We're getting smarter, getting older, we're getting better, and the product will reflect as such this upcoming season.
I have so many more questions. I could talk to you about basketball for hours,
We can
but
do it. We can do it anytime. But today was the day in which I was kind of pinched, so that's it.
no, all good. And if you're in New York, we got to do it in person, Doug. We got to do it in
We
person.
got to do it in person. I
Yeah.
got to get to the city this year.
All right.
I,
We'll do it.
if the Knicks were in the finals, I would definitely be there, no question.
All right. All right. Well, we'll do it soon. Doug, thanks
Who
for taking
wins
this.
the finals?
Pacers in 7.
Ooh, to win twice in Oklahoma City, that
We
would be
have to
awesome.
we have to change the way we look at Rick Carlisle and Tyrese Haliburton, right? If that happens.
Hey, I'm gonna give you one. Okay, I got a friend who's a high level assistant coach in the NBA, and he's like Dagnall's really good out of timeouts. Like they run good stuff. He's like, but we used to go into games against the Pacers. This is from a different coach, and he's like, we would just chalk up the fact that they were going to score on every ATO. Like he's unbelievable, and if you watch him during timeouts, it's not just his staff, but he's looking down there to get the matchup, and he'll find the mismatch. He just finds it. He's really, yeah. I would agree with you. He's pretty special what he does.
Doug, thanks for taking the time. Talk soon.
All right, bro.